Welcome back. We're continuing our coverage here from outside the White House as we get ready for the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump. Defense continues to be an area of collaboration and potential partnership. Joining us now to talk about what we can expect on this front is Eric from Cato. Eric, thanks very much for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. There's been a lot of forward momentum on the defense side between both sides. In fact, India has been recognized as a major defense partner. The U.S. has relaxed its export control laws as well when it comes to doing deals with India. Do you believe that this is going to be a visit where, on the defense front specifically, we could expect something big?
I think that defense ties in general, even under the Trump administration, are probably going to be pretty good. I think that Trump is continuing a lot of the policies of the Obama administration in regards to military posturing vis-a-vis China, and India played a big role in Obama's overall policy. So I suspect that the Trump administration will be continuing to look for areas of cooperation with India, despite some of the friction on the trade side of the relationship.
So if trade is not going to be a big focus area because, you know, it is an issue that is contentious and perhaps both sides would want to avoid starting off on a sticky wicket, so to speak. So, you know, Barack Obama called it the defining relationship of the 21st century. Do you believe that it is going to be much more continuity that we can expect to see on this front?
On the defense front, I would suspect more continuity than change. I think the big question is how much does the economic side of the relationship affect the defense side? So, for example, is Modi or will Modi be able to resolve some of these economic hiccups we've seen, like the H-1B visa issue, or will they sort of overshadow defense cooperation?
But is there a realistic expectation of any kind of forward movement on the H-1B issue, given the Trump administration's stand on immigration?
I'm not certain on that. I'm focusing more on the defense side, but I think that's the big question, right? Does the trade issues overshadow the security issues or not? And I think that there's a lot of good strategic reasons for that not to happen. There's a lot of good reasons for the security relationship to continue apace. But however, also in this, Modi has options. He can reach out more to countries like Japan or countries in Europe or Israel or even to Russia to help bolster India's defense position. So I think that's, from India's perspective, that's pretty good in that they can say, well, if the security relationship doesn't continue as much as it did under the Obama administration, if there's more hiccups, there's still at least ways to relieve that pressure and find other sources of support for India.
You know, India has opened up the defense sector. 100% FDI is allowed in the defense space as well. Do you think that, but so far, we haven't really seen any big-ticket money coming into the defense space. Do you believe that we could now potentially start to see that happen? I mean, we've got one big joint venture announcement just before this visit, which is Tata Advanced Systems and Lockheed Martin for the F-16. Do you believe that we're now going to start to see momentum pick up on this front?
I think there might be momentum. The biggest obstacle, I think, to momentum is the fact that Trump has still not really filled out the sort of mid-level positions or even some of the high-level positions at state and defense that would presumably be organizing this cooperation. And the other issue when it comes to the sort of people-to-people relationship side of this is that Obama and Modi had really good personal chemistry. Exactly. And we don't know if that chemistry exists yet between Trump and Modi. We sort of have to wait and see. So that could be a factor as well. But I think that the Lockheed-Tata announcement was a step in the right direction. It sounds like Lockheed consulted with the administration, the Trump administration, quite a lot in that to sort of undermine this idea of, you know, American jobs being lost overseas. It doesn't sound like that's going to happen significantly. So I think it could be a good deal. Now it depends on India to pick the F-16 or the Gripen for its defense needs.
Yes, absolutely. That is going to be a choice that India has to make, and we still haven't heard from the Indian government on what it intends to do as far as the bidding process itself is concerned. But any specific areas of concern that you believe the American side would like India to address?
Shortcomings on the Indian side? Not that I'm aware of. Besides trying to maybe streamline the process of acquisition. I know that that tends to be a really big hurdle for clearing these sort of large defense cooperation agreements. Take, for example, the medium fighter issue in India, where it was supposed to be a purchase of 120 some odd Rafale fighters, turned out to be much less than that, and so now they need to look for the F-16 or the Gripen to round out the rest of that buy. So I think as India tries to, attract more investment, doing efforts to sort of streamline that process, I think would really help attract even the more big-ticket items, because there needs to be a sense of certainty in regards to timetables and expenditure for foreign companies to want to keep investing in India. But I think that there's been, in general, very good progress made under the Modi administration and even earlier on towards that goal.
So what would qualify this visit or this meeting between President Modi and Prime Minister Modi and President Trump as a success to your mind?
I think an absence of big failures. That might be a bit of an unsatisfying answer, but I think that with the big Lockheed announcement happening, I think if they both draw attention to that, that could be good. If they can, if not reach some sort of agreement on trade issues, at least sort of smooth out some of the rhetoric that's been heard. And also just to see a general sense of what is the chemistry between these two leaders, because I think it could go a long way to defining what the relationship is like. So I think looking for what happens as a result of those things will be important to gauging whether or not it's
whether they can recreate the Modi-Obama chemistry.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the chemistry will be quite the same, because Trump is a very different person than Obama. But I think that if you take in, for example, what Trump has been doing with European leaders, for example, and how there seems to just be a sort of general dislike between him and Angela Merkel, a general kind of friction between them, I think looking to see if that exists in the Modi relationship with Trump will be important too. Like, how does Trump just interact with him in public and personally? Well,
the cameras are going to be there capturing every moment. Eric, thanks very much for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.